Welcome back to the Card Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Robo Skills, with my co-host,
Twice Baked Jake.
And guess what, guys? We're bringing you better than ever Card Lounge experiences. We want the audio to become shittier and shittier every episode. In fact, next week, we're just going to have Joe Rogan on as a guest, and we're just going to be talking through cans on a string.
Cans on a string. I didn't expect that one, but yeah, we understand the issue with the audio, and we are working to improve it. Our audio's improved. We upgraded our mic setup,
Mics
believe
are
it or not.
improved. They look good.
We spent like $3,000 upgrading our studio in the past week, so yeah. I think this will be fun. But for this episode, we got Black Bolt and White Flare. This is kind of crazy because I felt like it was just yesterday we were opening up Destined Rivals.
I know.
And here we are with Black Bolt, White Flare, baby.
It came through quick, guys. But you know what? This is the latest and greatest set. I think a lot of people are excited about it because it's like 151, except for, black and white generation. And they're doing something they've never done before, which is they made an illustration rare for every single Pokemon in the set.
Over
That's
150
wild.
illustration rares.
All right, let me open my
I'm
box.
going to be representing Team White Flare today. White Flare represent. Woo woo.
Your Team White Flare? Okay, guys, I will be representing Team Black Bolt.
And we will be doing a classic Card Lounge pack battle where obviously we always pull nothing good. Somehow that always happens.
I know. All right, we got to do better. We got to do better this time.
Whoever we pull these packs, and we'll drop a comment down in the comment section, and you have a chance to win. Remember to be subscribed. We always give away the packs that we open on the channel, and obviously we don't get something good, which we always never seem to get anything good on this podcast. We'll give you some extra booster pack. I feel something good in this first pack.
You just feel something good?
I just feel something good.
Okay, well, guys, yes, if you want to be entered in to get some free Black Bolt and White Flare, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment and share this video with your bestest friends so we can get more Card
opening
Loungers.
up his first Black Bolt pack. I'm opening up my first White Flare pack. You saying you were shaking your head?
I mean, I can see I have a horizontal line hollow.
The static hollow rare are making a return, guys.
This is what? A Tynamo. And can you see?
Yeah, but I don't know its name.
That's Volibee.
How do you know all these black and white? Did you play a lot of black and white?
I played the game Palpitoad.
Pokeball holographic
I got Beartic.
Static rare.
And Lilligant. That bear is always here. All right, you got what? Scrafty?
Oh my goodness!
You got a Stunfisk.
Illustrating rare.
How did you know? You even said you felt that it was going to be an awesome
It was a good vibe.
pack. Okay.
It was a good vibe. And, you get a static rare too. You can technically get an illustration rare and a special illustration rare in the same pack.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
So, congratulations to whoever wins these packs. You do at least get one illustration rare.
Illustration rare Stunfisk. I feel like there's been the illustration rare for all Stunfisk cards is it just very close up on its face and it's just laying on the ground.
So we talked about this a little bit, is that for some of the illustration rare in Black Bolt and White Flare, they're a little lame.
Yeah. That looks like very, it just takes up the artwork of the entire card.
Not to be a Stunfisk hater, but let's be honest here. As far as illustration rare goes, this one's hard mid.
It could be a little cooler. Okay, I got a Black Bolt pack from deep down in the box.
Nope, not this pack.
About 3/4 of the way down. This has got to be it.
All right,
Dude,
I feel a good vibe from this pack now.
Okay, I need the all black Zekrom.
Simisage.
What we got? Golett.
Dynamo,
reverse
Pokeball,
hollow, and
Victini static rare.
All right, I
Black
like it
Bolt,
though.
All right.
For
White
a horizontal
Flare.
line hollow.
Second pack in, I feel good vibe from this pack as well. Let the good vibes keep going.
Here
we got ourselves Pignite.
Gothita.
Wait a second.
Roggenrola.
Nope. Pokeball holographic
okay,
reverse.
Pokeball.
Oh my
you
goodness!
hit the secret rare.
I also pulled this secret rare inside of my own White Flare opening.
Dude, how are you doing this?
Special illustration rare from the box. Full art Reshiram EX. Very cool.
Jake CT scanned his box. Not fair. That's cool looking.
2 packs in and I'm crushing you.
If we got the alt art, that would have been cooler. Now I have no way to win.
All right, remember to subscribe and leave a comment, and you have a chance to win yourself the Stunfisk illustration rare and the special illustration rare Reshiram Full Art EX.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That's pretty cool to get that. Yeah.
One more pack.
Okay.
We're doing 3 pack.
I think the only way I can actually beat you
is if you get a
battle,
better SIR, which you have a good shot.
I would need to. Yeah, we
Not
need
bad.
to pull.
I feel something in this one now.
Okay. All right. Give me something in here. What is that? A fracture? Darumaka?
Pokeball. Going through. Oh, Oh, static
Nothing.
chandelier.
Oh, chandelier.
Get wrecked. All right. My
Dude,
pack.
these are what I would have guessed. I would have guessed I would have got the horizontal line hollow, the ice bear, a chandelier, and a freaking Victini.
Illustration rare. Let's go, baby.
All right, here we go.
3 for 3. Oshawott.
Oshawott.
Oh
my God!
I'm a god.
There's no way.
I am a god.
Give me one of these. What is this, a Sawaddle? Aw,
Illustration
I
rare.
like this one.
I am a god.
Look at that, guys. What do you think of that one? That one's pretty sick looking.
That's not bad. That's
not
a
bad.
good illustration
I
rare.
agree.
I would say that's a good illustration rare.
Oh my gosh, okay.
All right, how about this?
goodness.
Whoever wins, you get yourself the 2 illustration rare, the SIR, and we'll throw you 3 Black Bolt pack from Rob's box because good chance you're going to get yourself an illustration rare from one of those packs now. Because
Yeah.
he's whittled out the bad packs for you.
Yeah, I took out 3 landmines for you guys. You're welcome. Boom.
Yeah. That was fun, though. That was fun.
That was fun.
What
I'm
do you
glad we
think
got
of,
to see some stuff.
Yeah. What do you think of Black Bolt and White Flare?
Okay, let's talk about it. So I'm sure a lot of people online, or if you guys collect Japanese Pokemon cards, have been ripping into some Black Bolt and White Flare. I'm still on my predicted kind of stance of what I said before, where the fact that there's going to be an illustration rare of every single Pokemon, I feel like a little bit dilutes the specialness of the illustration rares.
That is absolutely true. We've already seen that where the prices on some of these illustration rares have tanked pretty hard. They're like $2 illustration rares or something like that for some of the Black Bolt and White Flare cards.
Yeah.
The top hitters are still there. There are top hitters inside of this set that are worth hundreds of dollars. Something like the special illustration rares, Reshiram and Zekrom, the chromatic illustration rares.
Right.
Those are still big hitters inside of this set. And there are some illustration rares that are making their way to the top. But yes, when there's 70 illustration rares inside of each set, some of them are going to be more desirable than other. And we talked about this. So the pull rate for Black Bolt and White Flare, the Japanese set right now, is you get 4 illustration rare inside of each booster box, which means they improve the pull rate by 33%, which seems like a lot, but they quadruple the amount of illustration rare that's even in the set.
In the pool that you can
yes,
get.
It's still way harder to pull the right illustration rare.
Correct.
So the top
Way
ones are
harder.
going to be expensive chases.
Yep.
Is what we're seeing.
And I just feel like as far as the artwork for a regular Pokemon card, people are just, I don't know, gonna stop caring about the regular hollows, I feel, because I feel like most people consider those regular hollows as bulk anyway, unless you're wanting to master set the set. And it kind of, I don't know, I still like when a Pokemon card looks like the traditional Pokemon card with, you know, the illustration just being in the square. And I think if you really nail it, like the artwork in the square, you can still make really cool Pokemon cards. Kind of like the 3 new Pokemon Center exclusives that we just saw.
Yeah, I'm really excited about those.
Yeah, it's like they didn't make those full arts, and those look beautiful, I think. Those look great.
So with Black Bolt and White Flare, there's a couple of things that this set brings to mind. One is that it's pure black and white, which means there's no Mewtwo, there's no Charizard, there's no Pikachu. None of the big names that we expect in the Pokemon hobby or collecting space is in this set, which is interesting.
It's interesting.
It's black and white, and it's carrying it on black and white shoulder on its own.
I'll say this. I think there was a lot of, before release, even when all the illustration rares started to get leaked from like people that had it early in Japan, there was a lot of, hype around the black and white set. But this set, I feel like in price for the sealed boxes, tanked quicker than even Terrestrial Festival or, Glory of Team Rocket. And it's just like, is that just because this doesn't have the full array of Pokemon from all the different generations? And so there isn't like a strong anchor Pokemon besides really your Zekrom and Reshiram.
Yeah, that did happen, and I noticed that as well, is that with the Glory of Team Rocket and Destined Rivals, booster box prices were pretty expensive. I remember the Glory of Team Rocket booster boxes, Japanese booster boxes, were going for $200 on pre-order for a single.
Like they were getting up there.
And this didn't happen with Black Bolt or White Flare, or for at least not as long. It's pretty much more affordable for Black Bolt and White Flare than previous sets. And that's happening right now. Terrestrial Festival, Japanese set, it's getting cheaper as well. A lot of Japanese sets are getting more affordable, which is fantastic. So they're getting a little bit cheaper. That's good news. And they also announced that they're going to be printing more. I think Japan already announced that we're printing more Black Bolt and White Flare immediately.
Yeah, and if they print more, I think it gives everyone the opportunity to get all the illustration rares they want. I definitely started to notice just on social media and hearing from different people, it's kind of like is black and white really one of the generational, like a fan favorite generation? Like if they'd have done this with gold and silver, Gen 2, would it have had a more of an impact? But also, I don't think Gen 2 added as many new Pokemon.
It's true.
And back then, you got to remember, Pokemon was probably like this idea, 151 Pokemon, and they didn't know if it was going to be like a super mega hit in America, let alone globally. And so it was just kind of like they made what they made, and then Gen 2 was more like almost like it felt like an expansion set. And then once they keep going, you're kind of like, oh, every generation we need to make like a larger array of Pokemon.
Yeah,
and I don't know if all these are fan favorites.
So the history of it is that Gen 2 was kind of like a DLC for Pokemon almost.
Exactly.
So it never added as many Pokemon as the original Gen. And that's why Gen 2 has kind of been like left on the wayside a little bit. It doesn't get as much fanfare as some other Gen. And Black and White, obviously, they added a ton of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. And I do have a theory about why they released Black and White right now as like in the middle of a Scarlet and Violet era,
right,
which is basically a lot of Black and White kids, people who grew up with Black and White. They're probably between the ages of 20 to 25 right now. And it's a great time to just get them back into Pokemon card collecting. It's a great XY evolutions or 151, but for Black and White fans.
Right. The kids that are growing up with this being their first set are kind of now, 20, 21, 22, maybe 25 if they were like playing it a little bit. Maybe they would have had it earlier. But, like they still could have really enjoyed this. They could have played this on the Game Boy during their formative years. And it's like, this is now that one kind of generation that's entering kind of young adulthood, and they're going to have that adult money to, now go back and buy Pokemon cards that they are nostalgic for.
Dude, this is surprising to me, but I saw some people asking about original Black and White. They're like, hey, I'm trying to collect original Black and White. Does anyone have any booster boxes?
You saw that? Man,
it's like a 17-year-old set, but people are asking about it like, why is this set so expensive? I just want to collect it. I'm like, yeah, it's 17 years old or something. Of course it's going to be like a $4,000 booster box.
Yep.
But they still sort of imagine it as if it's like a $100 booster box. They expect all these older sets to be around the same price. And I can see that. If you're a normal collector of anything, if I go and collect Funko Pops or something like that, a 5 or 10-year-old Funko Pop, I still sort of expect it to be like, I don't know, $10. Because that's what I imagine Funko Pop prices to be.
Until you see the crazy ones. Yeah.
Right.
It's wild, though, because I noticed, dude, I had a friend DM me because he had some Black and White packs. I can't even remember if it was the Black and White base set or one of the other expansions. It was Kelly. Shout outs to Kelly Collectibles. But the packs, dude, he was telling me the price of these packs. And I was like, yo, a couple months ago, I bought these packs for like around I don't know, they were just much cheaper, like for how vintage the Black and White set is. And it's so old, and so how rare it is to find those sealed boxes, but you can still find them. They are like somewhat affordable in the sense that there are some packs that are kind of close to even what XY Evo is encroaching on.
I fully understand that.
And you would think the packs would be $300, $400, $500, $600, just like maybe some older Heart Gold or Jungle Fossil, like other vintage packs. Now the thing is, the e-reader packs are so much more expensive because that's older WotC. Black and White, Pokemon had already taken over the printing process, so they were in control of printing more. They printed it their way, and yet he was telling me the prices he was selling the packs for. They had almost maybe not quite quadrupled, at least doubled, almost tripled in price in just the last couple months.
I fully agree. And that's an interesting time, is that basically, let's say Team Up. A Team Up booster pack is like $150 right now. So if you go back 5-8 years, you imagine those packs to be a couple of hundred
double
more.
That or triple. Yeah.
But they weren't. They were still going for like $100.
Yeah, or maybe like $20 more. But like it for something 8 years older, you wouldn't think it would only just be $20 more expensive.
Exactly. Diamond and Pearl packs, Platinum packs, Black and White packs. All these packs that came out after the E-Series or Wizard of the Coast era, It's kind of like a dark time. Not a lot of people collected Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Diamond and Pearl, Black
It was
and
a
White,
low time
Platinum.
in popular or Pokemon card popularity was at an all-time low.
Right. And no one collected those cards, and there weren't a lot of big chases in any of those cards. In fact, like even right now, the most expensive card in the original Black and White base set, the old one, I think it's like a $200, $300 chase. It's like it's not that expensive. So not a lot of people cared about those packs, but they are incredibly rare. It's just that they didn't have the demand.
They're rare because demand was so low, like popularity was so low. The print is much less than say Sword and Shield, printing era. But why is a Moonbreon more expensive than the rarest hit out of like Black and White base set? It's just there's just more demand for that Moonbreon. And I would say there's not too many crazy cool cards from the Black and White era, except for they seeded in those secret rare baby shinies. They didn't call the Pokemon in the title shiny whatever or shining whatever, but I know that shiny Charizard from, what was it, Plasma Storm, I want to say, is still like in a 10, one of the, that's like a top tier looking shiny black Charizard,
So yeah, basically for all of these packs from after the E series ended all the way till XY, that era is kind of like a lost history of Pokemon, where there is not a lot of demand and not a lot of packs. So it's low supply and low demand. But what we're seeing right now is just a nudge in demand. Like demand has increased a little bit because people are now suddenly to get interested in that era again.
Right.
And Black and White, big reason, coming back. And suddenly, with just a little bit of demand, you can see 3x, 4x in the cost of some of these older stuff because their supply is so low that even a small nudge in demand creates a massive wave in the cost prices.
And we said that like 4 or 5 episodes. So if you guys have been listening to the Card Lounge for a while now, it's good. We as soon as this leaked that they were doing a Black and White 151 set, before we even knew it was called Black Bolt and White Flare, we were kind of like, this would impact the prices of old Black and White like hits. And they also had the original full arts come out of this set, like as far as the first time I think you saw like a Mew full art or a Rayquaza full art, and certainly the all white, or was it there's a Reshiram and a Zekrom, right, that are like already a form factor.
Oh yeah,
like
so
all
the
white,
full chromatic Black and White Reshiram and Zekrom in this set is a direct callback to an older fully Black and white, Zekrom and Reshiram.
It's like textured a little differently.
They
and like
did
looks
the
a little
old one
different.
way worse.
Yeah, this one looks cool.
Basically,
Cooler.
I don't think the technology was there to make them as good as they want it to be.
Yeah.
The old Black and White Reshiram is really hard to spot because they didn't have texturing, so it was just a white card on white.
It does look white on white. You know what? But I know someone that when the news dropped, they started looking for the full art, like the all white Reshiram, all black Zekrom, and they bought them when they were kind of like cheaper. And now, because this set is out, those cards, I think in a 10 have like, maybe not doubled, but increased by a couple hundred.
Okay, so I don't do speculation stuff like that. Like, obviously, you could scoop up Black and White cards as soon as Black and White drops. That's not special to anyone, but that's such an easy, like, obviously, it's going to go up. Like, who would predict it doesn't go up? You know what I mean?
Sure, but it's funny.
But it's fun. Like,
not everyone
good for him.
makes the move to do that sort of
I
thing.
thought about doing it, but I'm not really into that space where I'm just going to scoop up on news, you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
But it's an easy flip. It's such an easy flip. It makes total sense.
You could say that about, I mean, we got the news a while ago about the mega set and how they're bringing kind of back
and those
callbacks to XY. And then now we haven't even seen any mega cards yet. And old megas from the X and Y era are already skyrocketing. Like,
a huge thank you to Collectr for sponsoring today's episode of the Card Lounge podcast. Collectr is the ultimate app to track value and manage your collection like a pro. Imagine this, you're at a card show and you need to know the value of a card immediately. You can scan the cards in seconds. Just point your phone and boom, the card name, set, rarity, and price. You have all of the insight on the current state of the Pokemon card market in the palm of your hand. Want to know the value of your collection today? Collectr pulls live price data from real-time sales, so you're always locked in on the current market value. No more digging through sold listings. Your collection digitized and organized with zero hassle. With real-time portfolio tracking, you'll see your total collection value, daily movers, and price history over time. You can even add cards to your watch list so you remember what you wanted to pick up. Collectr also offers an amazing platform to show off your collection to others. You can even see my whole entire collection showcase on the Collectr app. Try out Collectr today. It's available for download on iOS and Android. Do you have
PSA
mega
10s,
cards
PSA 9s.
in your collection?
I do. I have some. I never, you know what's so funny? When I first got back into the hobby, I kind of was like, I know these are older and their Sword and Shield alt arts look cool, but I want to try to collect the megas. And I picked a couple of them up and I didn't stick with it. And now I wish I had. But also, I'm not like so nostalgically like connected to that set, you know? Like I master setted 151 because I grew up like in the Kanto region. And it's like the XY megas, there's some cool ones. And I did pick some up really cheap because I got them, you know, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, there were some really cheap megas. They were not that popular for a long time, and it is kind of interesting.
But I didn't pick up Mega Gengar, and that one right now, people are losing their minds over.
It's very interesting how stuff like this happen. Is that basically no one is surprised that Gengar is popular. Gengar's always been popular,
True.
But Gengar cards have never been expensive or that expensive. And over the last 5 years, Gengar cards have just popped off, kind of like Umbreon cards.
A little bit, yeah.
Umbreon's always been popular. Gengar's always been popular, but their cards never saw that oomph of like the
premium
price
pricing of
like
a Charizard.
But now they are.
They
Gengar
are.
cards, Umbreon cards, they're like more expensive than Charizard in certain cases.
You'll see auctions where it's like, all right, this is the last sold of some Gengar like EX or Mega Gengar or oh my gosh, thank God. So I picked this up literally 6 months ago because I thought, oh, these will just be way too expensive for me to get later. So I need to focus my collection goals because I'm trying to get all the holos from the e-reader series.
Okay.
And I picked up the Skyridge Gengar.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I didn't even pick it up in a 10 because it's already too. I'm like, this is too much money. I'm fine with it in a 9. I picked it up in a 9. I think it's already like $1,200 more.
I still remember the time when Skyridge booster boxes were like 10 grand a booster box. And right now, I think there are 100 grand a booster box of Skyridge.
So you could have picked up one at 10 grand. And
I'll tell you, I did not have 10 grand at
that
the time.
time.
Yeah. There's no way I had 10 grand like 6 years ago to buy a Skyridge booster box,
of
even
cards.
if I wanted to.
Yeah, and just sit on it for, it would be,
5 years?
we would have like, it would be fun to do I really envy, like, I remember when Whatnot and Drip and all these like social media, like the live auction breaking sites were coming around. I feel like there were so many vintage box breaks happening, and it would just be kind of cool to do like a Skyridge box break, but it'd be really expensive to execute on.
Yeah, 100 grand.
Yeah, that's what it is now for it sealed. Ooh.
I know someone that will sell it to you for 95.
Ooh. All right. Or we'll just borrow Pokerevs, you know?
PokeRev, hit us up. Let us borrow your Skyridge booster box. We'll give it back to you.
We'll give it back to you safe and sound. Or just we'll do a box break, and then you can. I don't know if he even has a spare one. He's got all of them sealed though, right? In the sealed collection.
Well, Rev started before you and I, so that makes sense.
Exactly.
He started before us.
More OG. Yeah.
So that's just it. It's like whenever you start is what you have to work with. We started later, so we have less to work with. And it's not like
I know.
It's not like FOMO. It's not like I missed out because like I literally couldn't pick up anything. Like people talk about like, oh my goodness, if only I had held on to a couple of first edition base set booster box or something like that. But I was literally 6. You know, there was no scenario where I was going to keep booster boxes of Pokemon sealed.
But even as adults, people getting in earlier, it's like you got to respect the OGs for, you know, it's like when you look at like Rusty's stuff, right? It's like I don't even think he was buying stuff the way he was buying it for the sake of being like, I think this will be so much more money in the future. He was truly just buying it for what it was. And it was just much cheaper because he was the only one that passionate that wanted to buy all those things, or like these graded 10s, or like just these cool, like, I mean, he's got boxes and like uncut sheets and like crazy stuff, you know?
So, you know, Rusty, you know the Charizard Authority. He's been dealing Pokemon for a long time. I know a period of time, I think like 6 or 7 years ago, when he almost shut down because Pokemon was at such a bad place for sales that he was not able to sell stuff. That was how bad Pokemon was. And people are shocked at that. There was a period of time when Pokemon was doing so bad, it was killing card shops pretty much.
That is fun, right? Like those card shops that were taking stuff couldn't sell the product. They're just like, what do we do with this? They think it's, garbage. I mean, that's kind of the way, if you look at Alpha Investment, like Rudy has all that stuff in his bathroom or whatever, but he's explained that story 1,000 times. I don't even think as much of a big brain as I think he does have and could execute with, it's like, I think accidentally he started the ball rolling, or I think he would even self-admit that he just had stuff that no one wanted, and then no one was offering him anything on it, and so it's just worth it to hold it if you're like, you don't want to just sell it for peanuts, and then it just all appreciated in value, and now he's just in this like insane position.
Yeah. I talk about Pokemon in a different way than some people, just because like I've been there, and just I remember stuff that people don't even imagine about anymore. Sure. There were booster boxes for $40, dude, at conventions, and no one would pick them up. It was like Crimson Invasion booster box, like the Nationals and whatnot. Oh. And these were booster boxes that the card shop would buy from the Pokemon company or distributors for $80. Mm-hmm. And no one was going into their card shop asking for Pokemon boxes. Right. And they were stuck with like cases of Crimson Invasion. And they have to liquidate and sell them for $40.
For lower, yeah.
Right, because basically
to get cash.
Because that's on their credit line, like they can't sell through. If they don't sell through, they literally can't pay the bills for their card shop.
Which means Pokemon was the item they were buying probably to add spend with the distro, so that they could probably get some more magic to get like other stuff. Yeah. Pokemon was I have to take this trading card. And now we have to like, oh my gosh, just as like a shop owner, I'm like, the other stuff you have to buy just to be able to get allocation for Pokemon. It's like just a night and day switch. It's crazy, but I mean, I would have bet on Pokemon. I mean, that's again also why I think it was just so easy to get back into it. Like, even if a lot of the stuff in my collection went to zero, I'd still want it because of what it is. But it was just so undeniable in 2019, and then when you started to just see stuff shifting, even pre-COVID, that you were like, wait, this is just this much, but you can get stuff graded and it turns to this much value. And it was like, you didn't have to even wait that long. But then, everything just got even crazier during COVID. Yeah. So
there was a period of time when grading was like free money, like literally free money. If you graded any Pokemon card, it immediately added like $30 worth of value to that card. It was like free money.
I only got to enjoy that anymore. A little bit because it's like I enjoyed it and I went, I think this is like a hack or something. And I'm like, does this make sense? And by the time I was evaluating if this was like real or not, like remember when COVID happened and all the grading companies got backed up? Dude, I sent a submission off to PSA and BGS, and I didn't see those cards for like a year and a half.
That's exactly right. I think my longest wait was 17 months with PSA. Yeah. 17 months. Like I graded cards that were like generations old. Like 8 sets ago. I'm like, oh, this was from 8 sets ago. I'm just getting the PSA grade from them back now.
And then you get them back and you're like, dude, why did I send this for grading? Like my whole mindset on like whatever the cards were that I sent, I was just like, man, why did I send these cards? And I couldn't even remember.
There was a period of time when people were worried that junk slabs were going to take over because everyone was grading like even like common cards, because like a common Pidgey from base set would suddenly be like $100 slab.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of people were grading just whatever. And it's so funny because I remember those conversations or those critics that were talking about, like Pokemon slabs are going to be like $10, $15. And I feel like if you grade a Pidgey right now and it was from base set and you got it in a 10, it's at least worth something. Like someone wants to collect that, like there's very few, I would say, Pokemon junk slabs unless you're just grading I don't know, very unpopular Pokemon and getting very low grades on them.
So I remember the days when grading fees were like PSA was $7 a card, like $7 or $8 a card, all in. And it was like such an easy way to grade because there's so little risk with it. Yeah. Most cards were already under like $150 in cost. Most cards, even like a nice PSA 10 Pikachu promo card, would still be like a $30 card even in a PSA 10. So it wasn't a big deal. This was the day when like Mario Pikachu was like $100 or $200 card. And that was considered an expensive slab.
I know.
Because there were so few slabs over $1,000. So few.
Oh, man. And if you think about it, like it's like we should have graded so much more. Every year, And see, and then now I'm like, oh, should I be grading so much? Because now grading is so sporadic right now. Like, have you seen all the stuff with PSA and just, everyone posting these pictures of like, oh, I got this 6 back, so I cracked it and then sent it back in and it's a 10, or someone has a card that's a 10. I mean, you could probably crack a couple 10s and then send them, and then something will come back an 8 or a 6, and it's like, it should not change, which is why I guess you got all the AI grading companies coming out of the woodwork. But I saw a post where someone said, I can't even remember I think it was Tag, and it's no shot at them or anything like that, but the AI missed like a color mark or something, very slight, like maybe on the corner of the card. And I guess it's something that the human eye would have been able to catch. So it really just kind of shows I don't think there's really any perfect solution. Like, grading in general and authenticating is an imperfect process, and people just kind of have to be okay with that. You know?
So you've seen the critiques. PSA has issues. BGS, CGC, even Tag, they're not there yet. They're not reaching the level of credibility that they need to.
Yeah.
Their AI grading is great. I have no critique of it, but it's not there yet. It's not good enough that I can 100% confidently send every card to Tag, obviously. So there's critiques of all of them. They all have their flaws. Is it sucky that you could literally send a PSA 6 to PSA and get it re-slabbed and be a PSA 10? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That should never happen, but it's possible. People do it all the time, which is wild.
I think it's weird. I saw that one guy's video go viral where he sent a bunch of stuff in, like over 80, like 100 slabs, and he got X amount of PSA 10s.
So basically, I think it was 200 PSA 9s, and he got back roughly 80 PSA 10s. After re-slabbing 200 PSA 9s, he got around 40% of them back as 10s. And that's wild. And it's like, is that just a grader to grader? Because, you've seen stuff I've gotten back where it's like, this should be a 10 for sure compared to some of the other 10s we have. And then if it's not a 10, 9 at the least. Yeah.
But then they'll put a 6, 7, 8 on there, and you're like, there's nothing that could justify it. And guys, I will even admit there's probably some, because we looked over one where like maybe there's a dent in the card that you guys can't really see, and you really got to go over the card with a magnifying glass and like a light, and that's what these graders do, because they need to catch all the flaws. So that makes sense. But you could look at the card with your naked eye and be like, oh, this card has no issue, and then some like slight indentation on a PSA card, they'll just be like, oh, this is automatically a 5. And it's like, let's just use our let's use our brains. If the rest of the card is really flawless and this quote unquote dent is so slight that it depresses the card like not even 0.0001 of a centimeter, can we just say that if that's the only thing wrong with it, that should be a 8 or 9? Like, really just assess the entire card. If the dent is so obvious that the card looks like it's almost bent in half and there's obvious crease lines, then sure, give it a 4 or 5 because it was, folded in half. But I feel like they're just not even using like common sense anymore to grade. And there's the issue of people sending cards that are seemingly flawless. They're taking pictures of their cards before they're sending them. They're being sent in card savers. The box gets there. PSA doesn't say there's any issue with the box when it arrives, and then when they get the card graded back, they're like, oh, this is a 6, and then suddenly there's some like nick in the top corner of the card. It's like, well, did you do that, PSA? And then, don't just grade a card that you damaged. Like, that should be a refund,
Right. There's a lot of issues with them. Those are like all the common issues that everyone talks about is, why can I regrade a PSA 8 into a PSA 10? This card I sent in was flawless, and now it came back to me with a chip at the bottom. Is that even caused by me, or did you cause it? All of these are potential issues. And the crazy thing is people still grade their cards because of the potential reward. There's risk involved. There's absolutely risk. But we do it because the reward of it being a 10 is so phenomenal. We want to make sure that our card is awesome, right? And if it's a black label, you can flex on that. Even if you have a perfect card, but it's raw. You have a perfect card. It's black label worthy, but it's raw. Right. It doesn't have the same prestige as a black label.
Yeah, well, you just
and
need
people like that black label.
Yeah, you need to prove it. And I guess really at the end of the day, it's an authentication process thing. But guys, that's also why it's important. it's always about the card. If you think a card is perfect, then yes, of course, go grade it. And if you send it to BGS and it truly has like no flaws, then it'll get a black label, you know? And sometimes I've sent stuff thinking, oh, this will black label, and it does. And then, you know, there's stuff I'll send and it didn't get a black label. And I'll be like, what? This card is flawless. And I'll go over it with like a fine tooth comb, like with the jewel loop and everything. And then I will see the like slight little thing. And dude, this will be like the equivalent of like the size of a speck of dust type of scratch. And it probably wasn't inflicted by me or any human. Like it was like a printing thing.
That happens all the time.
Yeah. And then that just prevents the card from being perfect. But like with any collectible space, the incremental differences between the most expensive version of something and the second most and the third is where the highest variance of value is, you know. And then it's really just slight little things that can make the difference between $1,000 and like $8,000, you know,
which is wild. But here's the thing about grading is that I've noticed a lot of people talk about 9s and 10s as if they're worlds apart. These are marginal. They're marginal because basically I think some people see it as like ABC. Is that, oh, if you have a PSA 10, it's an A. You have a PSA 9, it's a B. And that's like a 10% off the grade, right? But really, a PSA 10 is let's say a 99% grade on a score. A PSA 8 is like a 98%.
Correct. Yeah.
They're so close, which is why you can sort of flip them almost.
Oh, you should. Right. And I would say, statistically speaking, you should have some sort of, not confusion, that's probably the wrong word, but you should be able to mix up a 9 and a 10 technically, or at least like they don't do half grades anymore. At least I don't think they do.
Not PSA 9.5.
But yeah, but like, you know, a BGS 9.5 is that, and that's actually how you know, like for smart graders, or, you know, I don't know how many people in the hobby that are listening to this really understand. Like a lot of people think black label value is like too high, and actually the better way to reframe that is stuff under the black label is valued too low, because even to get a BGS 10 gold label is very, very difficult. Most of the time you send something and what they consider gem mint is a 9.5. And really, I mean, that's what I would consider one of the biggest flaws with BGS, right? Like we've been saying this forever, is that if BGS just changed they don't have to edit or change their grading scale, but just their wording, where a 9.5 was a 10. And then, you know, what we have now as a gold 10 can just be still a 10, but the subgrades are better. So, you know, it's a stronger 10. You'd call that like a gem mint plus, right? There would still be variation and difference between a gem mint plus and a pristine, like the black label 10. But it's the fact that even a black label, just the difference between a gold 10 and a black label 10 is so tiny, like not even a 0.001% difference. And the price is so far, it doesn't make sense. Whereas like, I guess, you know, people will freak out when someone bumps a 9.5 to a 10 or a 10 to a black label, and they shouldn't. They should freak out way more when a 6 becomes a 10 or a 10 becomes a 6.
Yeah.
Because that is actually the much harder feat to accomplish.
Yeah, basically, I absolutely agree. Is that it's not surprising to me that this guy got 40% of his PSA 9s back as 10s, because that's how close it is. It's almost interchangeable. So it doesn't surprise me. What surprised me is exactly what you're saying, is a PSA 5 becoming a PSA 10. That should never ever
happen.
occur.
Right. Like a human or a machine should always be able to tell the difference between a 10 and a 5. And like we say that not as professional graders, but like we can assess a card. We know the assessment like measurements, and you know, if you handed us a 5 and a 10, we should be able to tell you what a 10 and a 5 is. You shouldn't be able to crack out two very good looking cards, and like one says PSA 5 and one says PSA 10, and then if they were cracked out of the slab and you look at them and they're like pretty identical, they should just not have that swing in. And I don't know what they're doing. And it's funny because it's like people are still okay with saying PSA is like the number one place to send your cards. It is, I guess, in terms of value. And again, this is no shot at, you know,
we're
PSA.
Talking about the collecting market. We're not talking about our preferences. Just the market.
The mindset of what I see people saying online is kind of like, it's mind-boggling that they you just need to get that right more. You can't have so many mistakes. Like I've just heard so many friends just like, or then they'll show me the slab and I'll be like, yeah, this is crazy. This is not a PSA 6 or a 6 by any,
This happened
grading
literally
scale.
today. Is you showed me a PSA 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I could not tell why it was a PSA 5.
Right.
Like if I looked at it, I could not see a single flaw
I
with
know.
this PSA 5 or 6.
That should be a rule. If you can't look at it with the naked eye and tell what's wrong with it, even like specks of whitening it's like, then it shouldn't be a 5. Like a 5 means it's halfway between a 0 or a 1, which is like the most dilapidated card that, a kid put it in his pocket every day during running around on the playground for 5 years. And a 10 being a card that was like pack fresh and just kept in pristine condition and printed like beautifully. And it's like to say that we couldn't tell the difference is like, it's crazy,
I agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. It's also partially psychology is that this actually happened with a grading company, which is CGC. They used to grade very harshly and they almost never gave CGC 10.
Right.
And there was a period of time when CGC 9.5 was the standard. You pretty much, if you grade a card perfect, it would have been a PSA 10. You would get back a CGC 9.5.
Yep, I remember.
And it hurt them for a long time because psychologically, people hate 9.5.
Yeah.
It looks bad.
Weird to look at. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because BGS tried to change the scale, had a cool little April Fool's Day joke around it, but it was also not the wisest. They were in the right mindset, except they tried to...
Tell me this joke. I want to hear it.
Well, it was during the Mint Collective, which is a show that like no longer is in business now. But it was a great card show, and that actually happened in Vegas. Like it was a show that was in Vegas, and they were doing what everyone has been telling them to do. They were adjusting their grading scale, but they said even if the subgrades, like if you got 4 9.5s, it would be a BGS 10 would be what would be written on it. And mathematically, that just looks weird because also it doesn't make sense. But right now, as it stands, to get a BGS gold label 10, dude, all four subgrades need to be a 10 for a black label. And then a gold label is just one of those subgrades being a 9.5 and everything else being a 10. It's too strict. But it's like they could have just made it where now, dude, I've got so many 9.5s, I think, in my collection where if those it's 2 of the subgrades are 9.5s, and if 2 are 10s, that should just be a gold label 10. And mathematically, that's what it would round up to. It's closer to a 10 when you average out 9.5, 9.5 with 10 and 10. I could even see the argument where it's just if you have 3 9.5s, the 10 is above the 9.5, it kind of pulls it up. You call that a BGS 10. You could even call it like a Gem Mint minus card, and then you have Gem Mint and you have Gem Mint plus. It still makes sense. And then if you want to keep 9.5 in your scale, just don't call that Gem Mint. Just call that Mint or Mint plus if you want to keep 9 as a Mint. And then, then if you truly believe a card has a little ding on each of the 4 subgrades, I mean, I would hope if they change this scale, you'd see less 9.5s, but sure, give that a 9.5 or just start, those are more just 9s. And like you just adjust the actual titling of the grading scale, but they don't even have to retrain their graders on what they're doing. They can still grade the same exact way. And it would fix the psychological problem where I think honestly, more people would send to BGS to, get stuff graded because their slabs are nice. They're sturdy. And, this isn't even me being like, I don't know. Because
BGS fanboy?
Yeah, because BGS has had some problems recently too. I do think they grade the most accurately, like objectively.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will say from the psychological perspective, it actually worked out for CGC in comic books or magazines or whatever. But basically in comic books, you never get 100. Ever.
Oh, right, they're so harsh.
Yeah, 98 is the highest you'll ever get in a comic book. You never see a comic book at 100. And they tried that formula with cards. It's that you do 9.5 is the highest, and very rarely you give a 10. And that did not fly at all with trading card collectors. We want our 10s.
People are so used to that. I wonder if that's just because PSA had already kind of set this standard of, speaking of people changing how CGC got less harsh?
Right.
I think PSA acted on that. Like, remember when everyone talking about Pokemon cards or just grading anything. It could be One Piece cards, it could be whatever. It was like, oh, that looks clean. Send that to like PSA's easy 10s. You know, that was never said about BGS or like CGC back in the day. It was like,
they don't say that about PSA
anymore because you can tell. It's like they haven't even made a official announcement. But if you're just anyone that grades consistently and you just, I don't know, pay attention in the hobby a little bit, you can tell that PSA has like because they don't have a black label, which again, you could even say like that could be on them from a marketing perspective, because if they had just one layer up from Gem Mint, that could be a game changer. But at the same time, I think all they did was just say that is our black, or like their highest grade is the Gem Mint 10, so they can't give that out super frequently. But now they're like almost so strict on giving out Gem Mint 10s. You can't even, like, is it worth even sending a lot of raw cards or just cards
PSA
to PSA?
Has reached the point where you can't just look at a card and be like, oh, that's good enough. You have to be really extra careful and inspect your card and make sure, like, oh, like, I do not see a dent. I don't see a speck. This is PSA 10 okay.
Did you see Radar's post?
No, what
like
did he say?
His IG story? Well, he just had I think it was from the 151 UPCs, like a stack of the like Mewtwo promos,
right?
Or maybe the Mew promos. He just sent them all. And he had like a tower of PSA 9s. They just all hit 9. And it was like, that wasn't worth it for him to do, you know?
We did the UPC grading as well, where we graded some of the Mewtwo, because we had some of the 151 UPCs too.
Yeah, we got some. And 10s.
I had to inspect a lot of them. And I think out of 30 Mew EX, these SIR Special Illustration Rare Mew EX promo card, the pink one, I got 0 10s.
Oh, okay. We've 10'd some of
but that was before PSA got super strict, right?
No, even after the
interesting.
Right, but not
it's
like
those
not
are
10.
hard
It's
10s.
harder. Yeah, like I want to say like 3 or 4,
right?
Maybe 5. But you know, after sending like 20, I mean, to be fair to Radar, it's like if we had sent as much volume as he did, we probably would have just had about as much of a stack of 9s.
Yeah, he focused on volume. Like he just sent a bunch, and he's like expecting to see some level of 10s, and he just didn't get.
I don't think he got, or maybe 1 or 2. Like it was small.
That's wild.
Yeah. And now, so I don't know. I'm wondering how this is gonna affect. Like, if I'd have known this 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, I would have been perusing the internet, just picking up Gem Mint 10s, because I think it's the 10 of a card is going to be much more respected, like a PSA 10, than it used to be.
I see
years
people
ago.
Speculating on that right now. You're exactly right. There are already people in that mindset. Is that some cards are going to be even harder to get 10s. So the hard cards to get 10s off are starting to rise. An example of that, the Magikarp PSA 10.
The Magikarp
it just
PSA
reached
10.
like $1,800, $2,000 for a card. And I think there's a little bit of that, is that people are expecting like, it's going to be a hard card to get a PSA 10 off. Like if you have a raw copy, it's probably never going to get a 10.
When we were talking about that with Jar Chomp, on that week, it was what, like 1,000 for a card?
Yeah, 1,000, 1,200
in
maybe.
a 10. Oh my goodness. And now it's almost doubled.
Yeah, that one I sort of saw coming, because basically Paldea Evolved booster box prices doubled.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me to see the Magikarp price double.
I get it, because it's still just as hard to hit. It's now more expensive to tear into the product. And we know it was printed horribly. So, you know, to get a 10 quality, because the 9 is still affordable, I'm guessing, right? Like, Is it what, like less than $150?
Right around there. Basically, a raw Magikarp is around $150, $200.
Okay.
So a raw Magikarp isn't that expensive. It's just the PSA 10 is $2,000.
Right. And that's insane, because you would think, I mean, like with most cards, or just if you would naturally like guess, it's kind of like the 10. So I do remember a time when PSA 10s obviously there's a premium on 10s. There's always been a premium. But for certain cards, certain popular cards, obviously the bigger the delta. But most cards that are still chases, still hits, the 10 is just like more expensive than the 9 by 30. Like it wouldn't be like double or triple the 10. And that's what you see with like black labels versus their, you know, non-black label counterparts, like being like
it
5x,
just depends
6x,
on
10x.
the PSA 9 to PSA 10 pop.
How hard it is for that card to get in a 10. And see, a lot of people don't get that even with just like labeling black label values, because it's like, now that I've graded or just spent so much time grading and like, you know, graded black labels, it's kind of like a lot of people just think it's like this set like parameter of, oh, this black label should be 10x or 8x or 4x the non-black label 10, but it's really just about the time investment. How easy is it to replicate getting that card graded in a 10? That's what it is.
I will say it's whatever someone's willing to pay.
Well, sure, right. I mean, yeah, there are people out there that will pay for the most pristine copy of a card.
You're willing to pay 4x, but someone's willing to pay 5x, then the market is 5x for that card.
Yeah, sure, yeah. But I mean, if it's only one person, there's right. It's nuanced card to card, and there's things like, I mean,
there are some black label where the premium is 5x, and there's some black label where the premium is 30x.
Right. I mean, if that's
it's the same
only
with PSA
card in a black
because
label.
basically there are PSA 10s which are worth a little bit more than their raw copies.
Yeah.
And then there are some PSA 10s where it's worth 30x over the raw copy. Example of that, the XY Evolutions Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
In a PSA 9, that card is like $150 maybe.
Yeah.
But in a PSA 10, it's like $3,000.
Right.
Because it's impossible to get a PSA 10 of it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think you still have to just look at the replication aspect. And I think we're experiencing this subtle kind of issue. I wouldn't even say issue. I think that's probably too harsh of a word. But there's this thing in the hobby now where because there's more people that want graded slabs, but they don't grade themselves, because I guess it is a lot of work. It's tedious, and you got to send stuff off and not have stuff for a while and wait for it to come back, and it requires a lot of patience. But if you think about it, it's like there's people that think the grading scale to value is so tight knit to just what someone is willing to pay that I guess, for example, there was a card I just bought where the last sale on it was almost $200 more than the previous like 4 or 5 sales on it. And the guy was trying to sell it and he had it stickered at that price. And we had to come down a little bit because I was like, okay, I agree it's probably increasing since the last couple of sales, but if I average the last 5 sales, we're still 100 below what you're asking for. And he's going based off one sale, but it's like, that's just someone that bought, that doesn't impact the market. If I know someone that's like, oh, this person could buy this slab and they just make it that price, then all the other versions of that slab or that Pokemon card is just that price for everyone else. Like, no, you gotta like see supply and demand, and there's gotta be a gradual kind of uptick in value. And if you see stuff rise so starkly, you gotta be careful, because how easy is it for someone to just be like, you could just call a buddy to say, hey, go online and buy that card for $1,000. They'd be like, well, that's overpaying. It's not worth $1,000. But you're like, oh, well, I've got 5 of them. And then that is truly what market manipulation is, right? That's what everyone's scared about, and that's what's wrong to do.
You and I both have said this, but we doubt any card that has jumped 300% in the past like 2 weeks, for instance. If it's jumped 300% in 2 weeks, we're not going to be picking up at that 300% price point, because we remember where it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? And it might never go back down to that price 2 weeks ago, but oh well, it's not a big deal. But we're not willing to take that risk of buying it at its peak, because that's so much risk.
What cards do you think have spiked so much? Like, even from Prismatic Evolutions, I feel like the Alt Art Evolutions are pretty high in a 10. They haven't really settled, right? And like, I don't know if maybe in another 5, like when the set is a year old, if the prices will be cheaper or that much cheaper, then it's almost like, I mean, that set had just insane value and hype kind of built into it because Evolving Skies has just been so insane since the Moonbryon came out. Like, I always thought I would pick up the 10 when I saw it dip back below 1,000, and then it's kind of gone up and down, but it really has just never gone back down since it kind of came out. It was at its price, and it's just kind of gone up from there. It's kind of wild.
To me, it depends on like how long a set is released or out for. Like Prismatic Evolutions right now is still dropping in price in terms of like the singles.
Yeah,
I think the Umbreon EX was $1,500 at one point, and right now it's going for right around $1,000. So it's dropped a little bit. $1,000 for a brand new modern chase card is still very, very expensive. But it's dropping, and that kind of makes sense because there's more Prismatic Evolutions. We're talking about all these Costco bundles that are hitting stores right now. It's not enough packs to completely meet demand, but it's more, and they're going to keep printing more. And it won't settle down until the lack of supply will sort of like meet a middle ground, right? Evolving Skies is never going to go that heavily down because the supply is set, the demand's kind of set. Unless everyone just hates the Umbreon, I don't see a world where it goes down significantly, right? That makes total sense.
Yeah, you're just
it's kind of settled.
Yeah,
which is kind of like base set Charizard or something.
Right. If you want that card, you kind of have to just pay what people are asking for it. And it's funny, you just mentioned the Prismatic Evolutions Costco bundles. Remember when we were talking about it on the pod and people, dude, I made a video. I think it got close to 500,000 views where people were saying, oh, this should be easy for collectors to get. This isn't going to get botted. Do you know anyone that successfully checked? I can think of one guy that successfully checked out with a bundle from Costco's
website,
from Costco.com.
Yeah, I didn't get one either.
And then I guess they put it in stores, but we're not going. No one is going into stores and finding Pokemon product anymore, like the way I would tell you sometimes or text you. Like I'd walk into Costco's casually and just be like, oh, they have like a stack of UPCs. I could buy 20 of them and there's would still be 80 more on the stack. You know, it's like, I don't think it ever goes, or I don't know if it, I won't say it never goes back to that, but I think people were expecting Prismatic Evolutions bundles to be like that. Like you could still just go.
I would say it won't
still
be that
scalped.
yet. Absolutely, I'm with you. As right now, it's Prismatic Evolutions bundles will reach Costco and it'll sell within the day.
Could people even get them at MSRP? Like without?
Well, at Costco they will because it's 2 per person right now. I think is what most Costco's are
limiting
doing.
Yeah, but
they will sell out in a day.
So many people will line up. No, they sell out
in an hour.
But before the store is even open, I think most Costco's. They're handing out like little tickets that prove, oh, you were in line to like.
That's cool.
They counted
Actually, I'm
how
okay
much.
with that because it stops the fights.
It stops the fights, and that's why I don't think ever since the drops we haven't heard any. Remember when we predicted like there was gonna be huge fights and stuff like that.
If they didn't do anything,
if they just put them on the shelf and if they opened the doors, people would run and that's
bum
what
rush in like they used to for some of the
tackle
older products.
someone, like try to grab a box of product.
I don't think Prismatic will be cheap right now. I think in a year's time, if they do another one of these drops in 1 year, and it's like the Costco's SBC bundle, Super Premium Collection, it might be available in store a little bit longer. Right now, absolutely not. I'm with you. It's going to be selling out because Prismatic is still not $5 a booster pack. There's still too much incentive to scalp and to buy it because it's an amazing flip right now. Regardless of whether I like it being a flip or not, you can buy Costco bundles for $50 and they currently are valued at like $150. It's a $100 flip for flippers or scalpers. So I can see why there's a mad rush to it. It's so incentivizing, but there could come a point of time if Prismatic Evolution packs ever reach like $6 a pack.
Oh,
bro, right now they're like $10 a pack.
I don't know if they ever.
Yeah, I'm saying in a year.
If it did, okay.
If it goes back down to $6 a pack and there's not enough scalping incentive, let's say like there is margin, but let's say it's like a $20 margin. Suddenly the incentive's not good enough. Like you can make $20 just Ubering for an hour. There's no reason to scalp that Super Premium Collection bundle from Costco next year. But we'll wait and see. You know, like I can't make that prediction right now.
It doesn't happen even if they print more because they didn't print enough to begin with. If they printed more where supply was more equivalent to demand, supply is so under. I mean, we did that poll where
I get that.
I still think over 50% of collectors out there right now, which is insane, over 50% still never got to touch a Prismatic Evolution
I fully
pack,
understand that.
which is crazy.
And I have a better confident story about that now. I won't say an argument, but basically I see the demand moving on. Is that a year from now, Prismatic will still be popular. People will still open it, but I'll tell you a year from now, there will be another special set out after that.
People want to open.
And that set will be the one people want. Yeah. Whatever set is releasing in January of next year, the next Prismatic Evolution, I'm assuming it's going to be a Prismatic Fates or something, like a shiny Evolution set.
Dude, that's not even a bad guess at the name. I would say in the next 2 years, there would be a set that comes out
Chromatic Fates.
Called Prismatic Fates.
I'm going to call it Chromatic Fates right now. But
okay, I got
basically,
Prismatic Fates.
Basically, I do expect in January of next year, there will be another special set, and that one will kind of overshadow Prismatic Evolutions for a while. It's not that Prismatic Evolution is a bad set, but like there's other sets, and there's a lot more set, and basically that pulls the demand. Is that right now, you're right, demand doesn't meet supply doesn't meet demand. But that demand is going to move on, and if supply keeps going, at a certain point, I think it will catch up. And it might never. I could eat my words, but so far, every single set has been available at retail at some point. This would be the first time ever if a set never reaches retail price, like true retail price for a booster pack, you know? And I consider that market price is like TCG Player, wherever you buy packs from. Secondary market.
Are you saying which set? The
Prismatic Evolution.
But also, I mean, after that, like, it's not like Destined Rivals has like a
That's true, but I would say
cheap market.
Prismatic set the first one to do it, right?
I see. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Prismatic
yeah,
Evolution
that,
was the first set to go over retail price and never gone back down.
To touch retail.
Journey Together is
or
actually
MSRP.
Yeah,
right.
Journey Together is actually kind of at MSRP right now. You can find ETBs for like 60 to 70. It's getting closer, which is good.
It's getting closer, but it's still over.
Sure.
I mean, really, to make a stance on that to where it'd be success, like it would have to hit MSRP or lower. And then you have Destined Rivals
If I say,
still being a hot set even after how many weeks of release? Like, are we a month out from
No, we've only been like 2 or 3
2
weeks
weeks.
into
Dude,
Destined Rivals.
And man, I feel like cards and new sets coming out is happening so fast. I'm also seeing that comment a lot too. I don't know if it's just because we're older. I don't remember as a kid, like, I know your scope of the world is so much smaller, and
You're not wrong.
It's like
we're
time
getting more
is moving.
sets.
We are, right? Like
We
they
are getting
are
more sets
not
than normal.
letting people have even a moment to breathe with a set
Yeah.
before there's already news of the next set. And I guess actually Pokemon has been doing that for the last couple of years, where you're excited to pre-order stuff, you want to buy the next set, and then how many people save their money because before that set even drops, the next set is already teased, and you're like, oh, I got to save my money for that set. It's crazy.
As of the episode that this is going live, Destined Rivals came out 2 weeks ago. Exactly 2 weeks ago.
That it feels like it's been out
ancient,
for a
right?
month or
Right.
more.
2 weeks ago, you and I were opening up Destined Rivals and talking about the set. And right now we're talking about Black Bolt and White Flare.
Yeah, because this Japanese is newer.
Like, who knows what else we're talking about in 2 weeks. But basically, yes, there was a period of time when there was 4 Pokemon set a year. And then we moved to 5 sets a year, 6 sets a year. And right now it's like 7 sets a year.
Oh my God.
For just English. That's just English, not including Japanese.
You think is that a business strategy? I mean, I guess it's them printing money. Like, it must make their business more money. You think they will get to a point where Pokemon just has a new set every month?
I hope not.
Right?
There does come a point in time when it's like just too much.
Over what would happen? It would be like people would just become like, you'd almost get burnout because everyone would just be like, this is too much. Yeah. You can't over, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the word? Overindulge or like over.
I think burnout is a fantastic word. Very
Sure.
common.
I mean, yeah,
Lots of
burnout,
people get burnout collecting. Well, hey, we're getting near the end of the podcast. There's one more thing I want to talk about, which is basically we are going to be vending this weekend. It is our first card show where we are the vendors. People will be buying cards from us. We'll be buying cards from them. I've been looking in the mirror and practicing saying, no deal.
Yeah,
no deal.
We're becoming the Bulba store, guys, except we will be the Card Lounge store, and we're going to be creating content and filming with you guys. This is at the Las Vegas Card Show this weekend, and we'll actually have a special item that will be for sale that will be exclusive to Card Lounge listeners. So get excited for that.
So Rob and I cooked up these mega booster packs for you guys. We worked really hard to make these about as good of a product as possible, really.
Yeah, packaging is still in beta. We're going to be adding more to it. So
but these are the Card Lounge Mega Booster Pack. They come with 8 booster packs inside of them. They are going for $80, and I made these about as fun as possible, which is basically you get yourself 8 booster packs. 2 of them are out-of-print sets, and every single pack inside here is unique. You will not get duplicate packs of anything. And these are supposed to be incredibly fun. And kind of like a little bit of an easy chase. 1 in 5 of these, you get yourself an Evolving Skies booster pack.
Yeah, 1 in 5 of these mega booster packs will have Evo Skies, and they're all English packs, so there's no like Japanese pack in there. No shade to Japanese packs, but it's all English, so if that's what you were worried about.
Yeah, there is no scenario where you get like 8 Twilight Masquerade, 8 Shrouded Fable packs. You're going to get yourself like 1 Destined Rival, 1 Journey Together, 1 Silver Tempest, 1 Rebel Clash, and maybe like 1 Evolving Skies. It'll be a nice, fun variety, and you should feel like this is a fun mystery product with good value. We made this about as cheap as possible, pretty much.
Yeah, good
for
stuff
the content
for
that you get
anyone
inside.
that like loves to rip packs.
Open up some and see what we get inside. Fun fact.
Sure,
Rob practiced opening up one of these earlier, and he pulled the Evolving Skies one in his first pack, and I was like, no shot.
It's
gonna look
again.
It's gonna look too rigged.
No, it's all random here. In fact, see, I was gonna open this one. I'm gonna, boom, hot swap, go into this one.
I feel a good vibe from this one.
Is this the better one? So for example, guys, if you got one of these,
I got a Champion's Path.
Nice.
Sword and Shield base, so 2 out-of-print sets. Oh, Chilling Reign, 3 out-of-print sets. Temporal Forces. You get at least 2 out-of-print sets, but you can technically get more. So there's quite a bit of variety in these. Evolving Skies, baby. Oh, Prismatic Evolution.
Prismatic Evo.
Not out-of-print, but still really cool. Paradox Rift. Rebel Clash, 4 out-of-print sets? Wait, second Sword and Shield?
Sword and Shield base?
Oh my good, you got an error one.
An error one.
I got an error one.
Hey, you said no repeat packs. Okay, we'll just put that into a different one.
Yeah.
I wonder if that just means that for some, I mean, that was pretty.
Here's what happened. If you get a error pack, well, the only one you can get one of these is if you go to our vending show. So you're welcome to open them up in front of us. If you get an error, let us know. We'll obviously refund you your.
I'm sure people don't mind if they get 2 Sword and Shield base packs. I mean, they're both out of print.
2 Evolving Skies packs.
Yeah, we could have potentially done that. I'm just throwing these in here.
All right, what do you get from yours?
I guess you built most of these though, huh?
What do you get in yours?
Sick. Okay. So out of mine, I got Obsidian Flames. I got a Sun and Moon base, Rebel Clash, Paradox Rift, and then I also got Chilling Reign, Destined Rivals, Pokemon Go special set, and Crown Zenith.
Nice, that was fun. Yours was different from mine.
Correct.
There were some similar packs because there can't be completely like different packs inside of all these. But yours was different from mine.
I like the variation that you put together with all the. They're very guys. So it's like if you wanted to buy 2 of these from us, one bag is not going to be like 7-8 packs the same as any other bag. There's actually a very good variation. We spent like time crafting these, so much so that we have completely unique bags that have 2 Sword and Shield base in them.
Paldea Evolved.
Ooh, nice.
Shrouded Fable. This is already different from like the
correct because you have Paldea and Shrouded.
Silver Tempest, Destined Rivals, Twilight Masquerade. Temporal Forces, Guardlet Fight. Dude, I want to buy another one. Give me a third one. I got to pull myself that 1 in 5 Evolving Skies.
All right, we'll try this one. Boom. And remember, guys, all you have to do is you can mention this. They'll be visible for anyone that stops by our booth. Remember,
you just got to prove you're subscribed to Card Lounge, and you can pick up one of these.
So you have to be a subscriber to get them because they are limited.
Good value, and
we have how many total?
We have 100 in this first run.
Exactly 100. This is our beta test, guys, right? So we'll see if you guys like this. We got Paldean Fates, Twilight Masquerade, we got Destined Rivals, Journey Together, and then also in here we got
none of those were out of print, so we got at least 2 more out of print sets.
Shrouded Fable, Prismatic Evolutions. Yep, there's your Sun and Moon, and there's your Battle Styles.
Dude,
boom.
I'm gonna have to open up more of these.
What you
Evolving Skies packs?
Well, it's 1 in 5, you know.
How many did we open?
We've opened 4.
So this one has to have Evolving Skies.
Well,
statistically,
but
we grab these at random, guys.
That's not how probability really works.
Statistically,
it would be crazy if we didn't.
All right, this next one has to have Evolving Skies.
Yeah, because the last time I picked one, at first I just got the Evolving Skies.
You got Evolving Skies in the first pack, and now we're 4 packs in, and we can't get Evolving Skies.
You got it in this. Come on.
I'm not hitting it. I'm gonna hit it. I have to. Destined Rivals, Twilight Masquerade. Well, it's not. I have to, but it's got to be. Eventually, you hit.
Ooh, this one's sick.
Journey Together.
Temporal. All right.
Oh, this one's good.
Jake didn't hit it, but look, guys, a 151 pack. Also Lost Origin, Prismatic Evolutions, and Twilight Masquerade.
The Card Lounge curse continues.
All right, so
that is wild.
That's the pack, guys. You can find this at the Las Vegas Card Show. Just show us on your phone that you're subscribed to the Card Lounge podcast.
I'm gonna make a bold claim here.
Okay.
If you buy 5 of these from us and you do not pull yourself an Evolving Skies booster pack, I'm going to give you Evolving Skies insurance, and you get yourself an Evolving Skies pack from me if you open up 5 of these and you don't get Evolving Skies.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah, if you don't pull an Evolving Skies pack after opening up 5 of these, if you buy 5 of these, you deserve an Evolving Skies pack.
I agree. And then they could open it up there with us, and if you... We should get a trophy or something. All right, that might be too much. I don't know. We just got still so much more to prep for the show, guys.
Obsidian Flames.
But
Journey Together.
Oh, you hit it there.
Stellar Crown. Oh, you saw
I
it?
see it.
Hey!
Boom.
6 booster packs in, or 6 mega packs in.
And if you want to open these up, I know we're going to be super busy vending, guys, so it might be like when stuff is a little bit slower. But we will try to whip out the phone and film with you guys and open up packs with you guys if you want. So
yeah, happy to open these live with you guys. These will be fun. You cannot order these online. So you have to be at the card show.
Yeah.
You can stare us down as you're opening up your own surprise packs. I think these would be fun. They're good value. It only took us 6 tries to get a 1 in 5 You've Always Guide pack. But that's how, yes, you're right. Probabilities works like that sometimes.
And I guess if people really love these and you guys really enjoy them and we sell out, we can do like a proper batch with like really cool packaging. Like we'll make something for Card Party, and then we could bring some to Card Party for those of you guys that can't make it to the Las Vegas card show. So
all right, guys, that's the end of today's podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Rob and I have a lot of vending to do this weekend. If you see us, come by and say hi. We'd love to see you as well.
Yeah, you'll see our big sign. It'll say Card Lounge, and if you want to come trade with us or sell us your Pokemon cards, we'll also be taking in Pokemon cards and slabs as well. So we'll see you guys there, and thanks for lounging with us.
Peace out, everyone.